So the CME group's been trading California's water futures. So this has been reported already from a couple places, but what is happening is the futures on California's water index is being launched by the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. The UN is warning that these new water futures may spark bubbles for the vital resource. Um, I'm going to tell you specifically why the water in California is being attached to the stock market. It's joining gold, oil, and other commodities traded on Wall Street, highlighting worries that the life-sustaining natural resource may become a scarce across the world. So it has become scarce in areas like California during actual fires and such and such. So right now they're trying to link that to a source. So I don't want to be too conspiratorial. It does matter because this is the first time it's ever happened. Um, we've never traded water like a commodity, but it's important for farmers, hedge funds, and municipalities alike that are now able to hedge against it or bet on future water availability in California, the biggest U.S. agricultural market and world's fifth largest economy. CME Group January 2021 contracts linked to California's 1.1 billion spot water market. Last traded Monday at 496. So that's like $496 per acre. So it's understandable what's happening. It's a way of tying in the commodities so that there's you can't you can hedge against it, you can bet against it and gain stock prices on it, but you cannot basically destroy the marketplace by saying the water is now this expensive. You're forcing it to have an actual price. So it's a positive for some agricultural. It's the fifth largest agricultural, economy. So it's really important that we keep water flowing in California, but at the same time, I'm afraid that this is going to be a water commodity across the world. I mean, people are going to be trading on whether the fires are intense,
Yep.
And I don't want the stock prices and the price of water to go up or down because of fires that are going to happen in California.
That plus pollution and climate change and everything else that's affecting it. Yep. It's a necessity. Everybody needs water, right? So somebody's gonna, I guess some people think that it's good because now people are paying more attention to what's going on. I guess through it, but the fact that somebody's actually gonna profit and I don't like that a little bit. Part of me thinks that's a little shady. It makes me feel like there's manipulation and other things going on in the background. You know what I mean? That I don't know about. I guess since it's new, I gotta see how it develops.
They've been profiting off of water since the first time they bottled it and sold it for a
Yeah.
dollar,
Yep.
or you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I can still remember
Yes.
being in grammar school and my teacher saying, one day you're going to have to pay for water. You're going to have to pay for bottled water, for clean water. And I remember saying to myself, like, that is crazy town. This lady's crazy. And look at how we are now. Everything, there's bottles of water everywhere. You can't go anywhere. As soon, you're probably not even going to be able to get water, a free water cup from fast food restaurants. You can't do that either. Everything's going to be bottled. Everything's going to, there's a price tag on everything. What else is new that this is going to be? It's water. It's crazy to think that they're going to be trading it and everything like that, and it's in the stock market, but it's one more thing on the crazy list of 2020, I guess.
I got a
I
question.
mean, it's
Oh.
going. It's Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
Go.
I got a
Well, I was going to
question.
say you should
Good.
watch The Expanse. You should The Expanse. The first season talks very specifically. It's about space exploration and in the future, and water is a huge commodity. So it's very if you it's a science fiction level dystopia happening right now.
How do you feel about the whole thing with like how in Newark and in Flint they have all the water issues or whatever that they had, and everybody had to buy bottled water and all this other stuff. Like I wonder if that was just a trial run. Like let's see how these. I mean I don't know, man. I don't want to sound like super conspiratorial, but you know what I mean. Like it just seems like certain things. I don't know, man. I've lost so much trust with the way the government's been run and like these corporations and their willingness to do so much crazy stuff that it's hard to like trust in general. Like, why would why does it take so long to help people that have water and lead in their water and poisonous water or whatever it is, and why is it you can't supply them with free water? Like free bottled water. Oh, because it costs something. Okay, so like we every how many times a week do we buy water and
Every
how much
week.
we buy water every week, right?
Every
Maybe like
week.
4 to 6 packs of yeah, four
Yeah,
to six
two
packs of
two packs
water.
of
I mean big ones.
cases of
Like
water and gallon
it adds
gallon
up to what, like
containers.
30 something to 40 something dollars, right? Each week that we spend on water. You know what I mean? They just recently fixed our pipes, out here in Newark, which like that's another thing with Cory Booker. He was in office for a decent amount of time, but I'm sure he knew something was wrong with something, because it's there, right? Who doesn't know the infrastructure of Newark if you're running Newark, right? So they know that the infrastructure was old, and I'm sure and I've seen maps of other locations in the United States, where it's the same thing where the infrastructure is crappy, and they haven't done anything about it, just like Flint and everything else. And then they put band-aids on things, and then they make matters worse. Like by like I think with Flint, they took water from another source and ended up contaminating more water with it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't, and then you think about it. Okay, how do you profit from it? I think in my mind, some of these people have these little things running in their brain, like little machines running in their brain, saying, "How can we benefit from this as well as make it look like we're helping people?" And it sounds crazy. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that, but it's like my experiences
So
so far with government have proven to me that these people are not willing to give us stimulus. They're not willing to do things for our health. You know what I mean? And it seems like they're all in bed with pharmaceutical companies, which give us the medicines to help us get better. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like a cause and effect, and at the end of the day, there's a profit for somebody. You know what I mean? And that bothers me a lot. But go ahead. I'm
so I'm
sorry.
not as conspiratorial. No, I'm not as conspiratorial, but I will tell you there's two things that you definitely got right. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a test run, but what I would call it is that the corporate entities that sell water were totally fine with it, that with you having to buy water.
Yep. Yep.
That's a big goal, and honestly, without a I mean, you can blame Flint and Newark on past administrations on a federal and state level. The money is very enticing, but it has less to do with the money and more with, oh, this didn't get fixed. It's more money in our pockets. Um, I don't know if Nestle company cares if Flint's pipes gets fixed, but you know, I think the government entities just didn't care about those populations.
Yep.
And I hate to say that they're separate. The government entities themselves, those people might be receiving some kind of uh, reward in a way by receiving donations and stuff like that from large corporations, but there can't be a one to one. But it's easy if the pipes are broken and nobody's going to do anything, and it doesn't seem like the Obama administration did anything about Flint. Of course, Trump didn't do anything about our entire infrastructure which needs to be worked on. And I think we talked about it before. I think we talked about how we need to bring manufacturing back. It's not just
Yep.
manufacturing; it's literally infrastructure rebuilds.
Yep.
So if we get to that point, then we're going to actually get to maybe a place of sanity where you get some drinking water and there but remember, those things are still going to be sold on the market now because people are going to always buy bottled water now. People are so used to it that like they feel weird when I like go and get water off the faucet. I live in New York, and New York has a much better, it has a pretty good water system. They treat it continuously and they've followed through with it. So I feel safe drinking that water, but there are people who will not drink that water. They will go to a water bottle as soon as possible because that's what they're used to. And I think that's what's scary, is that this is going to be a new norm. And that's the only problem, is that it's going to be a new norm that probably on the US and the world will start selling it as a commodity. Just the last little section here: 2 billion people now live in nations plagued by water problems, and almost 2/3 of the world could face water shortages in just 4 years. Tim McCourt, global head of equity index and alternative investment products at CME, said in an interview. So this is them knowing as an investment company that there are tons of people that are going to have water distribution problems soon. So ask me in a year, is there going to
Yeah.
be 3 different groups trading water? That's what I want to know. I mean, Nestle is already on the list. So luckily, Nestle owns a bunch of stuff. So it never seems like they're the bad guys. I forgot who owns Poland Springs, but another
Poland
larger
Spring is
company owns Poland
Nestle's.
Springs.
I'll tell you right now.
It's Nestle's too? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Right?
Nestle's Water North America from Stamford,
There
Connecticut.
you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
They get a lot of our money. The water comes from the sky and they profit from it. Unbelievable. But I understand. I get it. Coca-Cola is a big water company too. Even though they also make soda and everything.
Yes.
But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah. I have a couple of other articles. I don't know if you. I got a couple of other water articles.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you want.
Which other article did you have up?
Let me see what we got here. I've got this one. I don't know if this is about the farmers, I believe.
Oh yes, this is about the hedge. So more specifically, while anybody can buy or sell contracts, the market would be most affected for water users such as manufacturers, energy producers, and growers. For example, if a grower knew they were going to need water delivered in June 2021, they could buy a contract and establish a price. The price of an acre foot of water goes up the time the contract ends. They could take the profit off the future contracts to make water purchases. So this is it. It's important that this is about stability for some people. I'm hoping that, unfortunately, it's because it's a corporation that I don't feel I feel uneased about it. I'm not sure if it's better privatized or if in the public market, but it just gives me some kind of trepidation about the future.
Mm. Mm. And then I have one more. UN warns about new water futures may spark bubble for vital resources. Do you want to
Yeah, I
talk
mean
about that?
we talked about that.
Yeah,
Now
okay.
we
I just
talked
want to
about
make
that.
sure we
So
cover everything. Okay.
is there anything, Teresa? Do you have any thoughts on this before we move on?
Not really. Everybody's gonna
No.
make some money somewhere. It's just such a pain in the ass. And people want to go to bottled water because they don't trust everything that's been happening with water. They know about Flint. They know about the different cities that have had these sparks of lead in their water. I mean, Newark didn't just have lead; it had other chemicals put into the water that were trying to treat the dispersal of lead that was going into the water. So it was trying to limit it. So it's got another cancer-causing substance that's in the water to try to help that. You know, so of course, no one's gonna trust the water, and maybe that's a whole big thing too. Playing into conspiracies. Maybe that's a whole big thing too, by them putting this whole thing together and making sure everybody knows about Flint and stuff to make you run towards bottled water, run towards those big jugs for the coolers. Everybody's got a cooler in their house. Nobody has anything that's like we were talking about getting a whole filtration system to put into our pipes so that we could actually use the water, but nobody wants to do that. It's easier to just buy that pack of water from ShopRite or BJ's or whatever, and then just be with that all the time. Nobody thinks about it until no now it's a tradable commodity.
You got to spend a lot of money to get that reverse osmosis machines. Like the $500 and better. You know what I mean? That's the only way you're really gonna get decent water. Nobody wants to pay you for that. They screwed it all up, right? They don't want to pay you for that. They don't talk about how the lead and all the other chemicals settle in some of the pipes. So they expect you, like when they fixed our pipes, they said, "Oh, turn on all your faucets and every 6 months turn it on for like a half an hour so you could flush the pipes." And I'm like, how do I know it's really getting rid of everything? So at this point, I have absolutely no trust in what's going on in our pipes. And we're still bathing in some of this stuff, but they don't want to pay you extra money to get it fixed by a professional, right? To have it professionally flushed out. They assume that just turning on the water is going to do it. What if you have a section of it that it's stuck in there? You're still going to have these little bits of lead. So we have on our shower filters. We have filters on our on like the ones that
Sinks.
the pure filters on
Hmm.
the sinks. We still don't drink the water from there. We just use it so that if we need to wash certain things or whatever it is, it doesn't cross contaminate things. But that's money, man. And it's like somebody's profiting off of it, because we don't trust what's going on with that stuff. And I'm sure like New York is better or whatever it is, but that's just the same thing to her mother had spoken to us about in the past. She was like, all the water's coming from upstate New York and it's coming down here and it's clean. And I was like, that's great, but as it travels through all that crap, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like if it doesn't matter how pure it is at the source. If it's going through sewage, it's still garbage, right? So I mean, it's not sewage exactly, but all the chemicals and whatever. And we would get into
Yeah.
these discussions. I love her to death. I love her mother to death. But at the end of the day, we would talk about it, and I was like, look, man, like say what you want to say. I don't trust anything. The minute I moved out here, I've lived out here for like close to 14 years, right? And my first 10 years, I was telling Teresa, I was like, yo, things are kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of weird. This water, my skin's itchy now and irritated and so on and so forth. And I couldn't put it together. And I spoke to somebody with the water department about, like, should we get a water test? And he gave me this look like, like you better get it checked. You know what I mean? And this is before they even announced all the chemicals and everything that were going in the water. The problems that they were having with the lead. So they knew, man. I swear they knew. They had to have known. I can't say they knew. I'm just assuming they knew, but at the same time, like I kind of know they knew. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
Hmm.
That's crazy, but but hopefully I like I explained to you, I have some people out here in Newark that we'll have in the future shows that can, they're affiliated with Ross Baraka and some other people. Hopefully, they can give us more insight on what's going on the other end,
Yes.
that we could discuss about it. But we'll see how that works. Hopefully, that'll happen soon.